Good morning, everyone. I got a message last night on Marco Polo from a woman who's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I should feel anything about this. I don't know what to do. And that is that her husband's supervisor and her husband have got some emotional connection. Now, the supervisor is not his supervisor anymore, and said, hey, we just need to keep this as friends. Good for her. He is feeling lonely. So what's happening? My friend says, I don't know if I want to, I don't know if this is bad. I mean, there's nothing actually physically going on. I don't know. I just feel kind of weird. Now, if you've watched my other video about connection, emotional infidelity is a real thing, and it's not okay. If you are getting your emotional needs met by someone other than your spouse, it's not okay. Now, I'll tell you about my situation. Years and years ago, I had 4 little kids. I had a husband who was largely unavailable, both physically and emotionally. And so it was me doing all the 4 kids all the time. And I loved being a mom. I loved having my little kids and stuff. Well, I have some injuries, and I found a chiropractor, and I went a couple times, and he said, you know what? How would you feel about cleaning the office and trade for care? Because he knew I didn't have a lot of money for the care that I needed. And I said, that'd be great. So that's what I'd do. I'd come over at night and I'd clean. And when I'd come in for an adjustment, he'd ask me how I was. He'd sit and listen to me. And it felt really good. It felt like everybody wants to be seen and heard and known, right? It felt super good. And I started really looking forward to my appointments. Really looking forward. Because I knew somebody was going to hear me and care about what the crap was going on with me and my kids and the rest of my life. And I realized that I was sharing things with him that I didn't share with my own husband. Why? Well, my husband was unavailable and he would dismiss me anyway. So, I could argue that because my husband wasn't there and didn't support me, he's an ex-husband, by the way, because I wasn't getting emotionally supported by the one who is supposed to support me, I could actually argue that it was okay because it's the right thing. I need to be loved too. I need to be supported too. I'll let you know right now, even if you're lonely, even if your spouse does not show up for you, even if your heart is breaking and you just want somebody to see you, emotional infidelity is not okay. I realized what was happening and I stopped going and stopped cleaning. I just said, hey, by the way, things have kind of gotten a little complicated, so I cannot clean for you anymore. And I was still lonely. And I still didn't have emotional or physical support. And none of that really changed. What did happen is that my heart remained with God. He supports me, right? But on top of that, if I am getting emotionally fed and supported by someone other than my husband, I have no need to repair things with my husband. And there are vows. Regardless of what they're doing, there are vows. And I kept those. Now, it turned abusive, turned into emotional abuse, turned into infidelity on his side because he emotionally connected with someone. And they were just friends, and there was nothing going on, and I was just jealous, and they were just, friends, and there was a baby. And it was, not his, but they were just friends, and it was his. So I understand emotional loneliness. I understand how hard that is. And I also understand that emotional infidelity is just as much and strong in damage as physical infidelity. Don't be mistaken about that. There's a lie that perpetuates. It feels great. It feels so fulfilling, and it's so hard to say, nope, this is not okay. But there are ways to get emotionally connected to your spouse. The same woman I had the conversation with, we talked about the steps because, yeah, she doesn't open up to her husband. She doesn't share with him things. She's kind of afraid of his explosiveness and or his dismissiveness. He's a good guy. And she says that. He just what? What? He was raised by emotionally immature parents who didn't know how to handle the explosiveness he experienced as a child. And he doesn't know how to regulate that, and he doesn't know how to stand with his wife. It's what happens. It doesn't mean that we can't become emotionally mature. So what she's doing is working with me in the Joyful Heart Mastery program. It's a group mentored program, and then people have access to me one-on-one. So that's what we did. We also did the one-on-one, but the group together is doing a thing. And next week we're going to start with the feelings jar, and we're going to start learning how to honor her emotions. She was asking me, should we be going to couples therapy? Well, eventually, yes, but here's the reality. She doesn't give herself permission to feel. She shut down her feelings because it's too painful to feel that alone. It's too painful to feel the disloyalty, even though there's nothing physical. It's too painful. So she has shut down. She just does her day. And she doesn't really, it's not that she doesn't feel, she has shut down the awareness of what she's feeling. Now, here's the problem. You can go to couples therapy, but if you don't know what you feel, it's not really going to do much, right? If you think that what you feel is wrong and you shouldn't feel that way, it's going to be really hard to communicate that in therapy. If you believe that if you express emotion, that somebody else needs to validate it for it to be real and true and okay to feel, and you're dealing with somebody who's emotionally shut down, it's not really going to work, is it? So what has to happen is the practice that we do in the Joyful Heart Mastery Program. What we do is we start to get real with what you feel and make it safe and okay to express it. The emotions jar is what we call it. And I'll pull a strip and I'll say, when is the last time you felt excited? And so what you do is you go into a memory. When's the last time I felt excited? You find the memory, you feel it. Just let yourself feel it. You go, that's fun. That's what excitement feels like in my body. I like that. And then there can be other ones. I feel betrayed. When's the last time you felt betrayed? Well, I shouldn't feel betrayed because, they're a good guy. Or do you feel betrayed? And is it wrong? Is it bad? Nope, just is. So you go, when is the last time I felt betrayed? It was like 2 days ago when I expected my husband to come home, but he said he needed to help this other person that really needed his help. And I tried really hard not to feel bad or betrayed because he's a good guy. The reality is I felt betrayed in that moment. Okay, so you felt betrayed. Good for you. Good for acknowledging your betrayal. Let me tell you what happened as we were talking, and I was explaining that she needs to know how to feel her own emotion first. And then she can learn out how to hear and validate what he's saying to her and communicating. And then productive therapy will happen. And she said, I feel so resentful right now. Oh my gosh, I was so excited. She let a feeling come up. I said, you feel resentment. Tell me more about that. And she goes, well, I'm not his mom. Like, why should I have to lead out on this? Like, he's a big boy. And I go, but is he? because emotionally, he's stunted. And I'm sorry that you have to lead out. It's true. It would be really nice to have our men lead us. Our men don't know how. Just like we don't know how to follow our men. We don't know how to support them. Guess what? In the beginning of time, somebody let out. Eve made a choice to enter into mortality when she took that apple. She started the whole process of us all being on this earth. And Adam followed her because she let out. And he still presided over his family. And I'm not talking bossing or controlling. I'm talking about leading in protection, leading in providing, leading in masculine energy, while she sat in the nurture of the children, and not in a horrible way. I am a very strong feminine. So please don't misunderstand this. I stand in every ounce of my feminine power. I love it. And when I need to step into some masculine power, I know how to do that too. But a female let out, and her husband followed. So if you struggle with being aware of what you feel, giving yourself permission to feel, afraid of feeling because it's going to open Pandora's box and all life as you know is going to become unsafe, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to come unsafe. Step in with me in a Joyful Heart Masterclass. There are mentors who I have trained who I would love for you to jump in and get some training on how to be connected emotionally to yourself, to God, because he talks to us through emotion, and to others, so that you have fulfilling relationships. They are fantastic, and there's always something going on. That's it. I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful day today. Don't forget to create it. What would you love to feel today? What would you love to experience? Step into it. It's going to be great. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. If you like this, share this video. See ya.